we're trying to do YouTube. It might have me sign into YouTube also. I see you. Oh, we're on. Hello, 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 hello. Sean Brady coming to you live on YouTube with Dr. Laurel Clark. She is one of the fabulous people that I get to meet and talk with on very frequent occasions at Medici Space. And one of the things that I just adore about her is that she is not only proficient in the world of metaphysics, but also has given me a lot of insight around dreams and dream analysis. And I've had some really amazing dreams earlier this month, and I wanted to get her on live and in person to share some of those insights with you, because just tapping our unconscious, our subconscious, and developing our intuition, I think is what I hope what most of us strive to attain. Laurel, how are you? Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Sean.
Absolutely. I didn't realize we're going live, and we're figuring out this cool technology stuff all the time. So when it works well.
Fantastic.
I did want to talk to you about some of the dreams that I've been having. And if you would, why don't you give us just a little history of what you've done? And I know, you know, that you've had a deep, deep study and practice for multiple decades now in this arena. But what's something that most people don't think about when it comes to dreams and their intuition, and certainly developing that?
You know, it's so interesting to me that everybody dreams every night. So it's an every night. It's a regular part of human existence. And in our culture, most people don't pay a lot of attention to dreams, don't really understand why we have them. And I don't know about you, but I think that many adults had some experience when they were a kid. They had a nightmare, they ran into their parents, they were scared, and the parents said, "Don't worry about it, dear, it wasn't real." And, you know, think about what it's like when you have this experience, your heart's beating, you might be sweating, you might be crying, and someone tells you it's not real. That's very confusing. It's not physical in terms of the monster is not physically in your bedroom, but if you've had a dream where a monster is grabbing you or chasing you, that inner experience is very real. So
now I am putting on a little bit of a poker face because I got a little bit of guilt going on, because I think I've told at least one or all of my children, it's fine, and maybe it really wasn't fine.
So, you know, I'm not at all saying this to guilt trip parents. When you said what's one thing people don't know, that's the thing people don't know, is that the experience of dreaming is a very real inner experience. And the knowledge that's in dreams can be so helpful for guidance, for understanding ourselves, for sometimes precognition, which is dreaming about the probable future, creative ideas. I've dreamed up the title of one of my books. Healing can happen in dreams. They're just so powerful. And I've been involved with my own dreams. I've been writing them down in a dream journal since 1977.
Wow.
And learning how to interpret them since about that same time. So it's like an autobiography that tells you about your own spiritual development, your own mental development, your attitudes, your relationships. They're just really powerful.
Well, and certainly that mental attitude is what I got present to, and it made me immediately think of you. I mean, we've had multiple conversations on the subject over the past couple of years, and you know, the one thing I noticed was I usually sleep pretty soundly, but the past night, uh, uh, I woke up a little bit after midnight after sleeping for a few hours, and usually I don't have dreams that wake me up in the middle of the night, but this time I did, and it wasn't a nightmare like there was a monster chasing me, but I was really confronting a lot of things going on around me right now. Aging, what the future holds, taking care of my family, retirement, what's it going to look like? What's our economy going to look like? What's our community and environment going to look like in the future? All these things were just kind of weighing down on me, and I was upset. I woke up upset in the moment, but then I went back to bed, and then I immediately realized, I'm like, oh, there's something I learned from you, Laurel, was, maybe there's something else. There's another message here. And that even the people I was interacting with, my wife and a few other people, but mostly Michelle. And I think you reminded me, it's like, well, it was probably more something you were saying.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways that people interpret dreams, and a lot of levels, for lack of a better word, of dream interpretation. At one level, I look at every dream being about the dreamer's own attitudes and state of awareness, and all of the people in the dreams and everything in the dream symbolizes some part of us. So when you're dreaming about Michelle, your wife, if I had that dream, I would look at, okay, the Michelle in me. What is it in me that has similar characteristics, because that's what it's telling me about me. And one thing that's kind of interesting about that is, I think even having that perspective can help us in our waking life, in our relationships with people, because not always, but for the most part, the things that we admire in other people, we also have those qualities in ourselves, or at least the potential for those qualities. And the things that we're in conflict with other people, we have those qualities in ourselves, and we're in conflict with them with ourselves. So by admitting that in the dream and then resolving it, like, let's say I have a dream, and in the dream I'm arguing with someone who's stubborn. Well, there's some part of me that's stubborn. And so when I'm in conflict with that part of me, it creates discord in myself, and probably in my waking life, if there's a person who is stubborn, I'm going to have some discord with them. So I resolve it in myself, learn what the difference is between willpower and stubborn will. I cause that change in myself, and then it's also going to change my relationship with that person in my life, because I have better understanding of myself.
I did notice that, and I know we spoke shortly after, I think the same day I had my dream, and I did have a calm come over me that morning before even speaking with you, because I realized, like, oh, well, I wasn't arguing with Michelle, and that's why it was more of a nightmare. I was arguing with her, and I was frustrated, but it was more like an old married couple where it's like, oh, I'll cut it out. You always do that. Right? Or something along those lines. And I'm like, oh, maybe it is like that. And that's what immediately made me think of you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, more people got to have an inkling of this type of access to understanding, because, how much of our life is spent in that dream state, or how much would we like to be, right?
Right.
That's what I'm always not thinking about. And it's like, oh, yeah, we're trying to do all this stuff during the day, and now there's research saying that we need to sleep more and recuperate in a more efficient way. And having great dreams is a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sleep is a very regenerative process. And part of it is the regeneration that happens with our physical bodies. I think even more important is the regeneration that happens with the mind. So the way I look at life is that it's like a schoolroom. We go to work, we have dinner, we drive our car, we do all of these activities. and there's a purpose for them. So I've heard you, Sean, talk a lot about in business and in life that people need to know their why. So
Yeah.
I would call that purpose. So if I think, okay, I really want to become more patient, I have lots of lessons in life that I can learn how to be more patient. It might be waiting to get into a Zoom meeting. It might be waiting in line where they're only letting a few people into the store. It might be listening to somebody who talks a long time and doesn't ever take a breath. It might be, well, nowadays there's not so much getting stuck in traffic, but the point is all of those experiences in our life are neutral. They're not good or bad. They're just experiences. Our experience of it has to do with why is it in my life, maybe, or even more importantly, what are the life lessons for me in this experience? So, what the dreams can reflect to us is exactly that. Not so much, this is what I did during the day. I mean, you might have dreams that have scenes from things that happened. The dreams are really about what are the lessons that I was faced with today and how did I learn it? So, what's interesting to me is sometimes people ask me, what's the most common dream you've heard? And I think the most common dream I've heard is some variation of an adult who's back in school. It might be high school, it might be college, might be elementary school. They're wandering the halls and they can't find their classroom. Or they're in a class and there's a test and they realize, oh no, I wasn't even at this class all semester. I'm not prepared for the test.
Mm.
So the different variations of it, it's saying I'm in school, I'm not prepared, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And how I would interpret that is that in waking life, that dreamer is aware that they have certain life lessons, and they also are aware that they're not really learning them, that they're not passing the test, so to speak.
Right.
So I used to have dreams like that a lot. And when I started asking, not just, oh, well, I know there's something for me to learn from this, but what do I need to learn from this? And then what am I going to do to cause change in myself so I can learn? Then those dreams changed. And that's another element of dreaming that I appreciate, is that if you listen to it and interpret it and say, okay, this is the lesson and here's some action I'm going to take in my waking life, then you get feedback from the dreams, where it's kind of like having a teacher that makes comments on your paper that says, yes, you're doing a good job learning patience, or, here was another opportunity for you to learn patience and you walked off like a hothead, and so you're not passing the test.
One of the lessons that I think I'm taking away from all this is patience. And one of my mottos is preach what you practice, right? And I'm like, oh, I am not practicing a whole lot of patience. So that was, I think, one of the lessons is, just I don't have to rush into things, and I'm supposed to do them at the pace that I'm supposed to doing that, and have a little more trust in myself, and tap that intuition of it's like I know a lot. I know what I know. We know what we know, and we don't have to make rash choices without that. So I think that's what's coming to light for me. Hopefully, that's a lesson that I'm beginning to practice.
Yeah, that's great.
So if people want to find out more about dreams, or certainly more about you and you as a dream facilitator and coach, how will people find you and get in contact with you? What's the best way?
My website is my name, laurelclark.com. It's in the process of being updated. So to contact me, probably email is the easiest, which is Laurel@laurelclark.com. And
I can put that in the show notes for everybody too, so there's access for everyone. So when your website is up in the future, if they see this at a future time, they can absolutely just click and find more information about you and what you've been up to. You also mentioned you've written a few books, and I know you have some books available out in print now. Where can they find a copy of that?
So one of the books about dreams is this one that's called Intuitive Dreaming, and that's available on Amazon. I have one on visualization that used to be the bestseller. I don't know if it is anymore. It's called The Law of Attraction and Other Secrets of Visualization. I have one called Karmic Healing that's about the spiritual aspects of healing. There's several others. All of them are available on Amazon.
Oh, awesome. That's very cool. I didn't realize all of them were available on Amazon. I knew that there was a few, but and to date, I know you've written a lot of works and you've edited even more. How many books do you have out? Just the 3, or do you have a whole lot of other stuff too?
There are 7 that I'm the sole author of, and at least a dozen that I contributed to, although my name wouldn't be on all of those in Amazon. I mean, some of them are chapters in books.
Sure.
There's a 2-volume encyclopedia of sleep and dreams that I have an entry in. So yes, there's quite a few. And I don't know if anybody watching this is interested in writing a book, but one of the things I do is to help people to write a book if they're interested in that kind of help.
Well, and I certainly know with your editing background and experience with books, it's a great asset. So if you have any inkling for writing a book and using your dream intuition to do it, definitely reach out to Dr. Laurel Clark. Laurel, thank you. Thank you for being live with us today. Thanks for sharing this interview and your wisdom and some of your knowledge. Is there anything else you'd like to say that people can put in for their dream state coming into a weekend here we have coming up?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for the interview, Sean, and thank you for being you. Your background says be more you, and I appreciate that about you. Yeah, one thing I would like to say is that the word intuition means teaching that comes from within. And I think that many people, maybe all people, have some awareness that there is way more to who they are than what you see on the surface. And one of the benefits of learning to listen to dreams and to just even listening to them as a first step, even if you don't know how to interpret them yet, is being able to have access to so much more awareness of who am I? You know, think about dreams you have where there are people that you've never met before. Well, who are those people? Those are aspects of ourselves that we haven't even recognized are a part of us. And the prospect of getting to know more of who I am, getting to know more of my talents and skills and abilities and creativity, that's a huge benefit of tapping into dream wisdom. So I would recommend, if you don't, is to keep a notebook by your bed or a voice recorder, but I like to write them, and tell yourself before you go to sleep, I want to remember my dreams. And then as soon as you wake up, before you jump out of bed, write down whatever is in your mind. You know, it might be a feeling, it might be a color, it might be some words that are in your mind. And the more that you write down, it's kind of amazing. You think you haven't remembered something, you write down a few words and more of the memory of the dream comes back.
That's really, really sound and sage advice. I know I've been not doing that every day, but when I do have a vivid dream that sticks out, I do capture it. And even in capturing it, it's like, oh wait, there was more in that dream, and there's more color and insight, and just really something profound for me, for myself.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, to me, it's a very soul nourishing experience is probably the way I would describe it, is just to be able to have that connection with my own inner self, which then helps me to be better able to connect with other people in my life.
Well, that's a perfect note to end on. A soul nurturing experience. Dr. Laurel Clark, thank you so much again for being here. And the big sign off is really this: we may not see you in person, but we'll always see you here on social media. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. And I'm still learning this, so I got to figure out how to turn it off. But all things being considered, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Want me to end it for you?
Oh yeah, Jaleesa's still there. Please do. And you can show me how to do that later.
No problem.
Thanks for watching.